just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them, you thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin. I'm here with Meelz. Meelz, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I don't know. I can't lie. I'm doing good. Still cold in the city, but you know what? I'm doing all right. It's winter still. I'm waiting for spring to show up because I'm kind of over it.
But, I mean, your energy's still up, though. I like your energy today. Your energy's
what can my energy be attributed to? I don't know. It's not as late. That could be possibly it. Yeah,
that is possible. I'm currently in the midst of jury duty this week.
Civic American duty. Of course.
Yes, and it is causing me to come off of to come home a little bit earlier. I live like 3 minutes away from the court, so that works. Usually, Meelz and I do this show a little bit later on his end and on my end as well. But you know, it's been quite the ordeal this week. I'm very, very quite annoyed.
Well, you know what? It's your civic American duty, and that's all we can ask of you as a citizen. You know what I'm saying?
They keep saying this, and they keep saying this is like going to be like the best experience ever. And all I'm seeing is like a bunch of like idiots that I literally have to be around. I have to be around more idiots than I do on like a regular basis at work.
Well, here's the thing. You're picking out of the real crux of America. You know what I'm saying? Like you're really getting into the nitty gritty of it all when you the selection for jury duty. It's really random. I mean, people try to get out of it. You can only get out of it as much times as you can before they get you.
They don't even play that here. They're like, yo, we've read Google. We've seen everything. There are people that are literally disrupting everything as we try and get through 95 potentials just so that I can get picked. This is the second day of selection because, you know, like when people use bathrooms, you know, they have to shut down the whole selection process. You can't say anything. You can't talk or anything. You have to wait for them to go to the bathroom and then come out. Like they have to call a break. And it's just literally the most soul-crushing, draining experience I've ever had. It's almost like watching an old Impact show.
Well, here's what you can do. You can say that you have a weekly podcast. You may or may not talk about the case to a swath of, you know, a large part of the audience. So I think that could get you out, right? You may or may not.
I could try. I'd go to jail for sure.
Well,
it'd definitely be a Becky Lynch angle for sure.
But, this is true.
I don't know, but I'm here now. I'm here for you guys. I'm here on the A Show. Very, very big week for us. We started the Mark Madness tournament. And you know what? Again, our fans surprise us every single time. I have to say this: we have some of the greatest fans on the face of the earth. Like every time they show up and they represent for us. The numbers for these polls, incredible, man. I never thought I could see, you know, something this big and profound. Really got to thank everybody that did vote on Mark Madness this week. Round 1 was this week, and we're gonna go through the winners. You know, Meelz, are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we can go through the winners. I'll give my brief thoughts on who maybe I think should have won or who I think could win or etc. I mean, not could win. It's pretty much over. But what do I think about the two participants? A lot of good stuff. So yeah, let's run through it right now.
All right. So the first pick, and you would say like Punk was kind of like a 1 seed. He would be a 1 seed, right?
I didn't really do it by seeds.
I call Punk a 1 seed.
I don't want to call him 1 seed. He's not really a 1 seed.
Of the decade, though?
Of the decade, I wouldn't say, because then I wouldn't say in 1 seed because it makes the rest of the things look really funny then if you start going by seeds, because then people are going to be like, well, Roman should be higher and you know, Seth Rollins and he won, you know, multiple champions. I don't want to do it by seeds. This is really, as much as this is a fun tournament, This is a fun, and while it does have some stakes to it, because we are definitely crowning the best of the decade, and this will be known by fans. We'll certainly at the person. Hopefully they will add back with the adulation that they've been selected as the best of the decade by the A show audience. And yeah, let's go from there. But yes, round one, definitely first match, CM Punk versus Mark Henry, and people
resoundingly, 65% of people voted for CM Punk. CM Punk won there pretty handily. Mark Henry got 35% of the vote. I mean, you're just going against the grain if you pick Mark Henry there.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? I respect the 35% who pick Mark Henry because you know what? I get it. Yeah, I respect it.
That was an evil, and I'll say that. I'll keep saying this. This is an evil round. Like there were a lot of matchups that had people really rethinking things.
Well, I agree. There's certainly a lot of matchups here that are very enticing. I mean, even to the next one. We had quite a few blowouts in this.
Yeah, this is one of
blowouts that I didn't expect, but blowouts nonetheless.
Chris Jericho versus Dolph Ziggler. 89% of people voted for Chris Jericho. He advances to the next round.
This match shows you sometimes it's just quality, not quantity. You know what I'm saying? That's just really kind of what it is. Because Dolph Ziggler has been pretty active for the last decade. Like he's been here, he's been around. He has those 3 months where it seemed like he quit, and then he showed up again at the Royal Rumble without any sort of question or answer or rhyme or reason or anything.
Right.
But the list of Jericho is the list of Jericho, and I mean, I think that's what people are going off of.
Right. Next round, Cesaro versus Randy Orton. Ooh, I
was hoping for an upset here.
It could have gotten there, but Randy Orton once again. Well, I won't say resoundingly. He had a pretty solid win there. 61% of people voted for Randy Orton. 39% of the Cesaro section voted for him. Pretty good matchup there. I must say that's one of my favorite matchups that you kind of concocted there. I really like that.
Well, Cesaro to me is someone, he's been around for most of the decade too, and he's astounded and resounded. Sorry, I'm sounding like Walt Frazier at this point, but he's like. He's been like on such. The thing is like we have not seen the best of Cesaro, which is crazy.
Yeah,
like we've seen flashes of brilliance during various things, like a tag team partner gets injured and then he's back solo and now he's moving again. We've seen flashes of brilliance, but we haven't really seen the best of Cesaro, and I'm hoping maybe we'll see that in the next decade moving forward. But just for when you're up against Randy Orton, umpteen time world champion, I get it. And the RKO, I get it. Like,
next round, next matchup. I'm sorry. Seth Rollins versus Alexa Bliss. This is one of the evil picks here. Like, there's no way. Like, there's no fucking way you go the other side here. Seth Rollins blew out Alexa Bliss, undoubtedly. 85% Seth Rollins. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. The Shield, his double title wins throughout the decade. His run now, honestly, his run last year as well. It's without a doubt, like as good as Alexa Bliss is, Seth Rollins is without a doubt probably eschewing for, to me, top 10 in this decade.
I put a lot of women. I didn't do a lot of women versus woman bracket because I definitely wanted the opportunity for more women to advance in this tournament. I don't think we should have like a women's only bracket or something like that because it kind of just like it pits them against each other and then only one comes out and then like one could get squashed immediately. It kind of defeats the purpose. So I wanted to, put men versus women, have these intergender matchups, and I think this was this one you had to think about a little bit, but you really didn't. Like it's again. Seth Rollins.
There's going to be another one that I think really stumped a lot of people.
Seth Rollins was WWE champion and US champion at the same time during this decade. And he won the tag team championship and the Intercontinental Championship at the same time during this decade. Like the man is a star of just the caliber. And, Alexa Bliss has a good, Alexa Bliss first ever Raw and SmackDown Women's Champion. But man, Seth Rollins is Seth Rollins.
That's big. I mean, it's huge. So next match. I mean, we could just skip right past this one. We already knew it was going to be. So John Cena versus Bray Wyatt blew him out 89% to 11%.
Bray Wyatt, former WWE champion.
That's it. Next one is literally the same result. Next match was AJ Styles versus Sheamus. AJ Styles resoundingly won. I think this was a little bit unfair as far as how much of a landslide it was.
100% unfair. It's ridiculous.
I think people, you know, the thing about Sheamus, people unfairly hate Sheamus, but he's low key on the low, one of the most tenured and like celebrated and successful people in the company.
Oh yeah. King of the Ring, Royal Rumble, WWE champion, world champion, intercontinental champion, I think, tag team champion. Like the man has done it all.
He's done everything. I think he should have had a little bit more than like 11% of the votes, guys. He
won WrestleMania, the world championship in 8 seconds. Like I think he should have had more than 11. But I'm someone who's very like indifferent towards Sheamus for the better part of the decade.
Right.
So I can't even argue with them. Like AJ Styles is, you know.
He's great. I mean, in just 4 years, AJ Styles has really like turned SmackDown around. He's won the WWE title way more than we thought he would. He's held the title for over a year. So you know, it's a pretty crazy run for a rookie and someone that we never expected to be on that level. Next matchup, wow, this is an upset to me. In my opinion, it's an upset. Because this one of these guys, like they're both part timers, but one of these guys is obviously like done more matches than the other.
Oh yeah.
But The Undertaker versus Triple H, Triple H won. 66% of votes went to Triple H. Undertaker is out in the first round. I think a lot of this might just be, you know what? I gotta call some of the blame on myself for just the way that I've been talking about him for the past month. But
but you've been the Instagram thotty, plain fine, like come on,
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, you did it to yourself at this point. So it's definitely Undertaker, I'd say probably his better decade's the last decade. If this was the last decade, I'd say he probably had a better decade than Triple H.
But he had,
you know what? I don't even know that.
He had better matches than Triple H this decade, for sure. No, well, you know what? Triple H had the Daniel Bryan match.
Triple H had the Daniel Bryan match.
The Seth Rollins match. The Seth Rollins match is
Roman Reigns. Triple H has won the Royal Rumble in this decade for some reason. You know,
people were injured. People were injured. Remember that year? Everyone was injured.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Undertaker. The biggest thing that happened to Undertaker this decade is he got beat by Brock Lesnar.
That's a huge moment. Well, he did. The streak did get beat. He got beat twice at WrestleMania this decade. Woo.
Yeah, you kind of take the L on that one.
I mean, he might want to tell Bad Bunny again to,
drop that last tour date for Puerto Rico.
Okay, all right. You're having too much fun with this.
All right, next matchup, Nikki Bella versus Kevin Owens. Yet another landslide, which I don't really understand. I think Nikki deserves more love, but Kevin Owens defeated her handily, 79%.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Nikki Bella, one of the last Divas champions, longest reigning Divas champion. Someone who, if you ask Nikki Bella, started the women's revolution. Who knows?
Right.
It seems to be a lot of, but it's I think in terms of Kevin Owens and Nikki Bella, I think there's way more of a discussion to be had about who's done who. But people love Kevin Owens.
He's a great guy. I mean, we'll talk about him more a little bit later. Next match. This was the upset, I think, of the tournament so far. The
Miz, I think so too, because I did not expect the Miz to win.
I did not expect it either, even though we both voted for him.
I 100% voted for the Miz.
The Miz, Becky Lynch. It's the closest matchup we've had so far. 54% for the Miz, 46% for Becky Lynch.
Just squeaking it out. You
know what? Like, let's keep it 100 here. Like, Becky, for most of the decade, was not that hot. And I agree with anyone who voted Miz here. It's really, I get it. You gotta vote that.
The Miz's main event at WrestleMania. The Miz has won WWE Championship, 7-time Intercontinental Champion, multiple-time Tag Team Champion. Becky Lynch, one of the only of the contemporaries who did not win the NXT Women's Championship. But I mean, when you look at Becky Lynch and what she's done, she's become arguably the favorite out of. She's like out of the 4 horsewomen, she kindly stands on top right now.
Yeah, right now. But the thing about the 4 horsewomen is that they switch positions so much.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
There's never been like a definitive one. Like at one point it was Sasha, one point it was Bayley, one point like Becky's got the juice right now. And I think a lot of people voted based on that. But I think if you look at the whole 10 years, I mean, begrudgingly, I have to admit, like the Miz got it.
Right.
Next match.
I mean, you got something to say about this. I bet you do.
Kofi Kingston versus Daniel Bryan.
I love it. It was a little preview of Fastlane. That was supposed to be what could have been. What could have been. Maybe still.
Daniel Bryan blew him the fuck out. 81% of people voted Daniel Bryan. But the thing is, that's weird about this is that people voted to me correctly on this, but they didn't really vote the Becky Lynch thing correctly. It was like Kofi's hot right now, but for most of the decade, he was just a tag. He was a tag guy.
Yeah.
You know? And I really think you're evil for even putting him in here, but not like E or anybody else, because just where he is right now.
I mean, put E. I mean, Kofi Kingston has been. I mean, if there's any representative of the New Day who probably should be on this list, I'd definitely choose Kofi Kingston. The guy who's, I mean, the accomplishments speak for itself. The tenure speaks for itself, and just what he's doing right now kind of speaks for itself as well. So you know what? I think Kofi Kingston. He's got the eyes and the ears of the WWE Universe right now. Let's put him against Daniel Bryan and see really what everyone kind of thinks.
Okay.
And they thought.
Yeah, they thought Bryan. Next match, Roman Reigns versus Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory here. Roman Reigns, I mean, even just thinking about like where he is right now, 83% of people voted Roman Reigns, 17% Shinsuke Nakamura. I mean, I'm not mad at that. I think Shinsuke, I mean, winning the Royal Rumble was a huge moment, obviously.
But Roman did it too.
Twice. But, you know, I think if Shinsuke would have won the title last year, or even the year prior to that.
Against Jinder?
Yeah, against Jinder, I think this would have been a different conversation, and I think it probably would have been different numbers for him. But I think with Shinsuke we have now, I think I'm completely fine with that. Just being a big Shinsuke fan.
I think if he decides to stay over the next decade, we could definitely see some more things.
This next matchup was very evil. Asuka versus Dean Ambrose. Another close match, though. Another close match.
Closer than most.
Closer than most. Asuka won 59% for Asuka. I did vote her. To 41% Dean Ambrose. I think it just goes to show like the breadth of what Asuka has done in the decade. Right. Even though we're condensing this to 3 years, that 3 years to me is way bigger than what Dean Ambrose has done as a singles guy. Period.
I mean, she's one of the very few women to advance in this tournament, and the only one to really advance against a man. Right. So, I mean, big props to Asuka. I think Asuka is definitely a talent. She's a once in a lifetime talent. I would say she's kind of got it all. And you know, current WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, and you know, she beat the former WWE champion Dean Ambrose, member of the Shield. Remember, some guy who I guess we'll talk about later in the show.
Yeah, we'll talk about him later in the show. Let's speed through these last ones. Neville versus Rey Mysterio, Battle of the High Flyers. I love this matchup. Rey Mysterio won with 75% of the votes. Rey Mysterio had a very quiet decade, but I feel like these two are people who had very quiet decades also. I think Neville kind of debuted and he was really like a hot tag guy, or like a guy that they sent out to have really great matches with people like Seth Rollins. But when he really came into his own a year and a half ago as the Cruiserweight champion, and you know, he's not here anymore, and he's also not here in the tournament anymore either. After that, we have AJ Lee versus Sasha Banks. Sasha whipped that ass, 81%.
Just handedly.
Hey, that era's over. You better back up.
It's turn up, you know? Yeah, I really got nothing to say about this. It's Sasha Banks handedly.
Are you serious? This next matchup? I thought it was going to end up the other way. I'm shocked here. I told myself I wasn't going to spoil this until I looked on the show. Charlotte Flair versus Brock Lesnar. 52% of people voted Brock Lesnar, 48% for Charlotte.
The tightest race of them all.
This is the tightest race. You know what? I'm not mad at it.
I get it. I think I would have preferred Charlotte in this situation.
Me too.
But
even though I voted Brock though.
I think I voted Charlotte. It's interesting. It's very, very tight. Out of all the matchups on this, I like this the most, just because it's like, yes, it's very evil. Yeah. But at the same time, it's also like, let's check the barometer and let's see, you know, Charlotte Flair, Brock Lesnar, let's get people really thinking, and let's get people really invested in this tournament, who's going to actually win. And I think this being an extremely tight race certainly did that.
In the last matchup, to advance to round 2, Braun Strowman versus Finn Balor. Finn Balor handedly whooped that ass, 81%. Finn Balor is he's a huge fan favorite. It's not hard to see why people chose him. People really, really love Finn Balor, right? And I think even just looking at what he's done with NXT, he put the brand on the map, to be honest. And even through before the women, started their own thing, it was Finn Balor that was kind of topping the shows off. Then when he got here, became Universal Champion in his first pay-per-view on the main roster. Of course, he did have to drop it, but since then, I think the fan support never went away. And I think we've all been waiting for him to have this moment. I know in particular I have, and he's here now. And I think a lot of people voted based on that.
Boom. There we go, man.
All right. So round 2, Meelz.
Round 2 will begin next week, Monday. Once again, it will be from Monday to Wednesday. It is the last of the voting part of this entire tournament. From there on out, I think I will definitely put out a fillable bracket for everyone to just fill out and just have some fun with. I see, shout out to Stat Guy Greg for filling out his sheet just way before everybody else with some very interesting picks. I mean, I'm not mad at it at all. He's someone who, whose opinion I definitely covet when it comes to this sort of information. But next week, we're going to have a definitely second round. CM Punk versus Chris Jericho, Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, John Cena versus AJ Styles, Triple H versus Kevin Owens, The Miz versus Daniel Bryan, Roman Reigns versus Asuka, Rey Mysterio versus Sasha Banks, and Brock Lesnar versus Finn Balor. So, I mean, that's any of those could sell out.
Even the intergender one.
Sell out the AT&T Stadium or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
That's a Mania card. Shit.
It's one hell of a Mania card. So, we're going to get into it this next round of the tournament. And, we're interested to see. So make sure you keep voting, make sure you keep sharing, and make sure you just keep, staying invested and listen to the A Show. We got more content coming down the pipeline. Absolutely.
And we're going to get right into No Holds Barred. First off, with some bad news. King Kong Bundy passed away this week. Very, very big loss. King Kong Bundy, a damn legend.
Yeah.
In here. Once again, like, he comes from an era of kind of like the grand spectacle of it. But even more than that, I think people kind of mislabel him as a Hoss type wrestler. But this guy was, the matches that I've seen, and even just the stuff that I've seen this week, like, he was way more than that. Like, he could pretty much work a lot of different styles. And it sucks that we're losing a lot of the guys who really captivated fans. And, during a time where it's like, a lot of like the grand characterization types things, they don't really work today. Like the Bray Wyatts and stuff like that, they don't really like super work like they did back then. But King Kong Bundy and everything that he did, it worked, at that time. And, it really sucks. We're losing a lot of the legends here.
Yeah. I mean, you know what? I wasn't very familiar with him outside of just like video games and just like his name alone. But yeah, the wrestling world really lost another legend this week in King Kong Bundy. So RIP to King Kong Bundy. My condolences to his family and everyone who's just dealing with the situation as it is.
Next up, Torrie Wilson is going to the WWE Hall of Fame. She was announced this week. Of course, the internet is unhappy for some strange reason. Sure.
I mean, I think, you know what, and I'm not caping for the reason why they're unhappy, but they're definitely unhappy because they're like, there's probably a ton of wrestlers that they could have chosen that could go before Torrie Wilson. But I think people underestimate how popular Torrie Wilson actually was. And she was insanely popular.
Even in WCW.
At the tail end of WCW and even going into the WWE. And she was really kind of just like, one of the most, like, in terms of just like back then, one of the most downloaded women on the internet by far. And really after that sort of Sable era, it was more, and yes, she, for a majority of her was use eye candy, but at the same time, she still is athletic. She still went in and tried to, do the best she can in matches. And she was, she's incredibly old. You go back to those SmackDowns and you don't see people on their, sitting on their hands when the Torrie Wilson match is there. They're really doing a lot of things. So, I could see why they complain, but I'm not really buying it. Like, Torrie Wilson is a damn legend.
Her damn daddy died for this shit, man.
This is true. This is true.
Once again, like same thing I said about China. And I still feel this way. Like, the Hall of Fame is like, it's literally it's like a fake Hall of Fame. Like, it means something to the performers, but it's like for us to like really invest a lot of emotional time into this. Right. It's really like disingenuous. It's like, listen, like, they're going to pick who they want to pick for the reasons that they want to pick them, when they want to pick them. It's literally like a storyline. That's all it is. Like,
it's just, and then again, next year, we'll have a whole new batch of people. So it's really not something to kind of just sit down and just really, hold your and this year, believe it or not, one of the first years, we're getting 2 women into the Hall of Fame. I mean, I think that's applause worthy, and I think that's something that should happen a lot more often. So you know what? Hall of Fame happening Saturday, I believe April 6th.
It's the 6th, yes.
April 6th. I will not be going. I will probably just stream it or whatever's going on that Saturday night. But you know what? Major props to Torrie Wilson for going in. She deserves.
Absolutely. Next up, WrestleMania 36 is announced to be taking place in Tampa.
Good old Tampa.
Tampa, Florida. Is
that the home of AEW?
Location. No, it's Jacksonville.
Oh, but, I bet AEW feels like they're right in our backyard.
Fuck out of here.
They're gonna do a tank right up to the Tampa Center or whatever the fuck it's called.
It's gonna be held at Raymond James Stadium.
The Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, I have no clue who that is.
I gotta look it up. Raymond James. I'm sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, Tampa, in my opinion, not the most attractive place to have it, but I think it'll be a lot easier for people for a lot of people to kind of meet up. I think Meelz, we should go. We should go next year.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
we should go. I
would have gone this year if I could have get tickets. Yeah, I would have gone this year.
Let's get our location out. Let's figure out where we're gonna stay, and let's get our tickets. Let's worry about tickets after that. I think we'll be able to kind of finesse some things as far as that
Raymond
goes.
James Stadium, also known as Ray J. If you'd like to.
Wait a minute. The One Wish Stadium?
The One Wish Stadium, baby. If you would just like
outdoor pool stadium.
Yo, all of it, baby.
Charlemagne, are we live? Concessions?
This is it. Oh my God. Listen. Yes, it is.
It'll be cool. I think we should go though, for sure. I think we should go.
Yeah, why not?
Other things that got announced. Wrestlemania got announced for April 4th. Shout out to our good friend Wale, and as well as Kazim and Emilio from Wrestle Rap. They will be having special guests there, including Leo Rush and Smoke Dizza will be there, and the guy that does those Wrestling Flow songs. Have you heard his shit?
I haven't heard much of it, but I'm sure I'll hear it at Wrestlemania.
Yeah, for sure. Meelz, well, you'll be in attendance. I am 98% sure, unless you're too busy to go, you're going to be in attendance.
Listen, I might sneak a wire in and try to interview some people while I'm there.
You won't even have to do that because our good friends at Wrestle Rap, they're like our cousins. They will definitely give you whatever you need. And if you need more information on this, the tickets go on sale, I believe, on Friday. But you should follow at Real Life Kaz for more information on Wrestlemania 5
or Wale, quite frankly.
I don't know what you'll get if you tweet him. I troll Wale on Twitter all the time, and he's always like, "What?" He's like, "What the fuck?" He'll text me like, "What does this mean?" And I'm like, man, like, "What are you talking about, man?" So I'm just trolling you. Well, you're a troll. He's a troll. He's like a food account now. He's not even that's his gimmick.
Listen, follow one of them. And get your tickets. Also, it's a great way to kick off Mania weekend in New York City.
Also, Kaz he came back to the Wrestle Rap podcast. If you haven't heard that, definitely check out the Wrestle Rap podcast on iTunes. He came back to talk about some of his experiences as a WWE writer. As you guys know, he will be on the A Show very, very soon. We will tell you the date when we lock it in, but you should definitely go out and listen to that if you haven't already. Very, very great episode. Do not read like the Reddit description. You have to hear it from the guy's mouth. He talks about a lot of really cool stories, right. And a lot of stories that I've been privy of being able to be there as it happened, and just to hear him be able to talk about it now is amazing. And he's got way more stories. So I think that's going to be tremendous. I'm hoping he saves some for us so we can get a Reddit post.
Yeah, I mean, quite frankly, right? We can get we can get the big questioning of why people are doing what they're doing.
And you know what, man? I know you probably saw it, Meelz.
I did see it.
You don't usually get into a lot of the stuff that I do.
I definitely don't.
I did get into it a little bit with Bix on Sundays. Shout out to Bix. He did hit me up on the side, and we did hash out the issues that we had. We did talk about it. Not even worth talking about. It was. Of course, even if it was you, Meelz, I'm gonna ride for anybody that is in this business and loves this industry and does this from the heart. And this is Kaz. Kaz is somebody that did it, for almost a year. And I don't take any type of slander, even if it's just a little bit. That's just the way that I do it. But
right.
Shout out to Bix, who did clarify, the issue that we had, and it's all good. He's a interesting guy as far as the shit that he writes about. But I think as far as just him as the guy, he is a solid guy. So
100%, yeah.
Shout out to him. Next up, this is a big one actually. Tommaso Ciampa is injured. He has a neck injury. This is something that we feared for a long time after his match with the Bar 2 weeks ago. He did not appear on TV after that match. He is out of NXT TakeOver New York next month. They are currently, I have no clue what they're going to do here, but apparently he has to get neck surgery. I think they stated today that either tomorrow or today he got it. So we don't know the actual recovery time. I haven't watched NXT yet. I don't know if they've addressed it.
I mean, I'm watching it now. Actually, it's pretty surprising because Mustache Mountain just gave Street Profits the match of their life. But it's I don't think they've announced it on the NXT. Actually, I didn't watch the first 13 minutes, so maybe in the first 13 minutes, I would imagine. But we shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, at the moment. We have not we haven't seen or heard what they're going to do. There are NXT tapings next week that will take them all the way up to TakeOver. So you're looking at about maybe 3 tapings, maybe 2 or 3 tapings next week. Yeah. So we'll see what they do there. But I mean, we've talked about this a lot on the show. The Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. If you don't want to hear spoilers, skip forward maybe 2-3 minutes. I'm not sure yet, but. This was going to end with them finally having their blow-off match in New York. The last taping that I believe will air next week will be the turn of Johnny Gargano on Ciampa, leading to this match. I don't know what they do now. Do they even air that segment? I think it's you can't even.
At this point, it's
I think me and you we feel the same in that. Just call Johnny up.
Yeah, let's get him out of there. Wrap it up. Come on,
yeah, just call it up.
There's no point. His entire tether for literally his entire NXT tenure has been Tommaso Ciampa,
right?
And he is no longer there. Let's call him up. Let's get him out of there. Let's wrap this up. There are plenty other stars. I'm sure they'll handle it in a very cool way, and we'll see a great NXT Championship match at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn or New York rather. Yeah. So let's wrap it up. Call him up to the main roster. Let's get him in the match at Mania. Let's do something. Let's just do something.
Yeah. There's there's really nothing for him there. I don't want him to get There's really no one to even have him put over. He's put over almost everyone on the roster there as well. It's I don't think, and the one thing NXT does do well is that they kind of split the generations off, where it's you're not going to see Aleister going after Riddle because they're 2 different classes. It's Riddle's coming up. Aleister wouldn't go back down to face him. There's stuff like that, and I don't want to see Riddle Gargano right now. Riddle's got to get his own thing. Don't get tied up in that. Shit like that. It's there's a new class of NXT that's coming up, and I'm very glad to see these new guys, and they need to just move all of the old guard out. I think Johnny just needs to get called up. Very unfortunate for Ciampa, but very also hilarious that they've stretched this storyline out so fucking long. They can't even blow it off correctly.
No, multiple major injuries, at least 3 major injuries in the course of this damn feud. The first injury, the second injury, the third injury, it's an unfortunate situation. But, here we are. I mean, they had their third match by all intents and means. NXT, whatever that happened at Survivor Series. I mean, they had their match. It's over. Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up. You can do it on the main roster maybe one day. Yeah.
Oh boy, I don't even know if I want that. So let's move on to
I think you forgot the big announcement.
What's the big announcement?
Romania? Oh, wait, we did talk about that. Ooh.
Yeah, we did talk about Romania. Yeah,
my brain is on Kurt Angle right now. Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. Listen.
It's all right. It's all right. Let's go on to WWE Fastlane. Our predictions for this show. Fastlane, not a hot show to me.
I'd say it might be a sneaky good show. It might be a sneaky good show.
The card isn't bad. I don't think the card is bad. I just think we're at that level where it's just get to Mania.
Mania, it could be a sneaky good show. I'm not mad at it. Everything from the pre-show on looks potentially great.
We shall see. So starting off on the show, Andrade versus Rey Mysterio. They're on the pre-show. They have been wrestling for the past 2 months, I believe, on SmackDown. It looks as though, to me, they're going with they're going to fight until they eventually respect each other angle, just based off of what they've been doing on the shows lately, where they're trying to run out and outdo each other on the U.S. title open challenges. One thing I do note that even on SmackDown this week, when Andrade got pinned by Joe for the U.S. title, Rey Mysterio was pinned the week before.
Right.
So I say that I love that they did that just to kind of shut out all predictions that they would be going for that title.
Right.
So I think that this will probably be their last match, and I do think that the story.
You don't think this extends to Mania?
I don't think this extends to Mania. I think if anything, this becomes a tag team, and they win the tag team titles, which would be fire to me. I think they'd be a really great tag team. I think by hook or by crook, they want Andrade to be a face, and I think even now he's doing he's just a cocky heel right now. But I think that him wanting to take over, like storyline wise, him wanting to kind of replace Ray will end up, having him learn under Ray. So I think that's going to happen.
Oh my God.
But I think Andrade wins this though. I think Andrade wins this. I'm
going to go with Rey Mysterio, actually. I feel like Rey Mysterio's due for a win in this type of deal. So I'm going to go with Rey Mysterio.
All right. So we're split. Next up, the Usos versus Shane McMahon and The Miz for the WWE SmackDown Live tag titles. Could this be the beginning of the Usos swan song in the WWE? I asked this question last month, and they won the fucking titles. What about now?
Nah.
You're still in denial. You think they're not leaving?
No, I don't think they're leaving. No.
We'll see.
Where do they go?
I mean, AEW. That's where they go.
Oh yeah, I guess
they can square up on cops
for sure. Shane McMahon and The Miz versus the Usos. Interesting little bout. The Miz's face run. I'm not. It's interesting just to know that he's at all his full powers when he is a heel, but as a face, he's kind of like this. Like
he's a good face.
He's a good face, but he's kind of just like run-of-the-mill white guy, He's
we are differing here. This is crazy. I think Miz has actually grown into becoming a really good face. I remember when he was, the first time he kind of became a big baby face doing the Ric Flair stuff. Yeah, a couple of years ago. That was absolutely dreadful.
Well, I felt like they didn't have confidence in him that he was a face, and that's why they tried to put Ric Flair around him to make sure and inherit the figure four, all this other stuff. I feel like they didn't have that. But Miz he certainly has his moments. He's very like a corny guy as a face. Yeah, okay. Well, yes, but it is how it is. I'm interested in see kind of where this ends up. I feel like they were building up a storyline. They took the week off last week, and now it's kind of like, where are we going with this again? But I think the Usos will definitely retain.
Yeah, I think they're going to retain here. I do think that the story here is Miz versus Shane. I think that's going to be the match. I just wonder how we're going to get there. I'm going to also say the Usos retain, and I do think that if they're not facing some NXT guys at Mania, it's going to be Andrade and Ray. At Mania or a big tag team scramble match.
Interesting. Okay.
Next up, speaking of NXT guys, the Revival versus Aleister Black and Ricochet versus Chad Gable and Bobby Roode for the WWE Raw tag titles. Before we get to the predictions, Meelz, what are your thoughts on Aleister and Ricochet's first month on the main roster? What roster do you think they're gonna end up on? Like, how do you think they've been presented since the first time they appeared?
I think WWE is doing this great thing where you kind of get your bang for your buck because you have to promote these two WWE stars, and they're both incredible in their own right, even as solo stars, but even presenting them as a tag team, they still kind of light up the screen. And they also add a lot to the tag team division. I mean, they're doing this, situation where the tag teams on both rosters aren't happy with rookies kind of, taking their shine, and it's adding a light to the tag team division. I think they're doing incredible. I think they're really nailing everything. Wow, the episode of NXT is going long. It's literally 9:00 and it's still on. But I think they're really, really doing well in terms of what roster they end up on. I think we could see them on separate rosters.
I I think the way that they're positioning them, I would see them both on Raw right now. I think they need a kind of out of this world character. They need two of them, and I think that they both fulfill that slot. And they just look like they belong, man. Like they look like they really fucking belong here every single week, and they're having fresh matches. I just think the fact that the matches are so fresh really makes it even more exciting. And I think they're just main roster ready. Like I know Ricochet's only been there, a year and a half. Mm-hmm. But remember, we always said he wasn't going to be there long. Right. So we're not even surprised. I'm not even surprised that he's not going to be there that long. But in terms of the storyline they have with the Raw tag team situation, I think this is a match to basically wipe the Chad Gable, Bobby Roode thing out. I think that either Chad or Bobby will take the pinfall here just to keep Aleister and Ricochet relatively strong to lead to a revival feud going into Mania, which should happen. I think that the best first thing, and honestly, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. I think other than like Finn, this has been like the best call up they've ever done. Right. As far as NXT guys, I'll go out on a limb and say that this has been the best call up. They've kept them strong. They've kept their characters. They've made them look like fucking stars, and they've protected these guys. And I think that is so fucking important. Like, look at what they're doing with EC3, and I think they're doing with these guys. And I think with the position of them calling up right kind of before Mania, they're doing the best that they can without really sacrificing anything else. Because I'm pretty sure WrestleMania plans are all planned out. They're kind of just getting in these guys where they could fit in. In terms of, I think with this Tommaso Ciampa news, just running back for a real second, NXT is going 90 minutes this week, and I think they've added in that Ciampa in the DIY versus Undisputed Era match. It's very interesting in terms of that was supposed to be the next episode. Yeah, because this one is going 90 minutes. It's going extra long. Like they've had the two matches that they had before. So this will be interesting to see where this kind of goes. Oh wow! This is just announced. Jim Ross confirmed he's leaving WWE. Oh really? He wasn't gone yet. All right. Well, they signed him on just to do like special shows like the Mae Young Classic and stuff like that. His contract is up in March. Well, fuck him. We ball. This is the one situation where I agree with you. Yeah, fuck him. I don't think they needed to sign him back anyway. I think let him go wherever. He's like 67. Well, I think the way the initial time was kind of not his fault, and they kind of was just doing it right, especially after his wife died and things like that. But yeah, I think we're ready to move on. And I think Jim Ross, what a crazy episode. We should do these episodes. We try to do them early so we can catch all this news as it happens. Very true. But what was I saying? Yeah, I do think that the Revival will retain, and I think we're going to see Aleister and Ricochet at WrestleMania, and I think that's well deserved for both of these guys. They carry the NXT brand. I just wonder when they break off, where does Aleister go? Where does Ricochet go as far as their characters? I think Aleister would really work as a really good heel, and I think Ricochet would work very well against some of the top guys as a face. I think he's better than Neville, and I hope they don't slot him at a Neville place where he's just kind of taking offense and winning, kind of cheesily. I think he's strong enough to win on his own and hold some gold in the main roster. So we'll see. Yeah, they don't seem to have the size thing with Ricochet, so I think he's gonna, I think they'll keep him strong. Yeah, they're gonna do well. Who do you think is gonna win? You think Revival's gonna retain? I don't think they gave it to the NXT guys yet, and Chad Gable and Bobby Roode, they don't even be on TV like that. But I mean, what if they gave it to that? Well, you know what? I don't think they give it to NXT guys because then they lose this tournament match. I mean, sorry, spoilers. Shit. Well, I mean, they don't lose. I mean, fuck it. Fuck the spoilers. I mean, everything's blown up at this point. They're going to face the War Raiders, essentially, I think. Right. Not the War Raiders. They have one more match. So they're facing the Forgotten Sons. They have one more match. Yes, they're facing the Forgotten Sons. So yeah. So we'll see how that. I mean, I would like it if Aleister Black and Ricochet won. I'm gonna go with the Revival. Cool. I'm gonna go with the Revival, and then Chad Gable and Bobby Roode really turning up on Aleister Black and Ricochet in terms of getting their heel thing kind of really off. And then getting that ass slapped, and then the NXT guys go to WrestleMania and win the titles, which is my dream. Next up, a lot of tag team matches on the show. The Boston Hug Connection versus Nia Jax and Tamina for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championships. Their first defenses of these titles. I have no care in the world for this match. Not gonna even hold you, Chief. I think they're gonna retain. I whatever. I couldn't give a fuck less about Nia Jax and Tamina.
I agree. So here's the thing, though. To me, this is a monumental match because it's really the first title defense, and this is really the first kind of look at a women's tag team division and taking it kind of seriously. And we've seen women's tag team matches before, but they've kind of just seemed like, oh, let's throw this girl and this girl together. And now these are official tag teams with a championship, with something they're vying on. They're going one-on-one against each other. So I think this match has kind of high stakes, and I think it's up to them to kind of deliver, especially with, Sasha and Bailey have been like shadowing the Revival for the last like 5 weeks on Instagram. Yeah. So it's like, I think this is a time for them to deliver. Well, I hope it's good. But with the parties in this match, I don't have high hopes. I'm just going to say the Boston Hug Connection will probably retain.
Yeah, I think so as well. Next match, as we saw on Raw this week, the Shield is back again. They're labeling this as the last time ever because of the possibility that Dean Ambrose might be leaving. The big question here, and the many questions leading into WrestleMania for a show that only has 2 matches announced in the card so far, is will Dean Ambrose leave or stay? And I think this week they're kind of hedging all their bets here. They're just going to do the Shield reunion here and not even worry about it at WrestleMania, which is smart. And then they're going to have them going against Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. Meelz, do you believe this is going to be the last time ever, or do you think Dean will come back in a couple years?
I mean, I'm sure he'd be back, but yeah, for now, this is the last time. This is the last ride. This is it. And I'm not, I love the Shield. I think everyone loves the Shield. I think, 6-man tag team matches are their forte. They're up against 3 big dudes. They've kind of made this entire thing important. This has gone on way longer than anyone has anticipated. Yeah. This is the return. Like, literally, since before Roman went out, he's been fighting Baron Corbin and Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. So it's kind of like, I would assume this is kind of the blow off, but
this has been the most prolonged reunion, because I mean, remember the first time the reunion happened,
2016,
Dean got hurt, and then the second time the reunion happened, Roman, had to go out, unfortunately, and I think at this point they're like,
are you hitting that Seth is going to?
No, I pray to God no.
Something of Seth is going to explode and he's not going to make it to this match.
I pray. Let us pray that doesn't happen. That's just
because if that happens, we're definitely getting Roman and Brock again.
Oh my God, I hope not. I really hope not. That would kill Mania to me.
Right.
Honestly. But yeah, I think the Shield, they're going to win in tremendous fashion here. It's going to be Roman's first match back. This is going to be great because even if Roman isn't ready to go for like a full 20 minutes yet, they can hide him for the hot tag and just have him win. So I think that's what's going to happen.
Right. I agree.
Next up, Asuka, versus Mandy Rose for the WWE SmackDown Live Women's Championship. This is a pretty easy to predict. I don't think Asuka's going to lose in her first or second defense of the title. But what do you think Asuka's Mania program is? A lot of people are saying it's going to be Lacey Evans. As the weeks go on, I'm more inclined to believe this. I would have loved it if it was like someone like Natalya. That's a big match that's like never been done before. But what do you think?
Is there an option for none of the above? Like at this point, like I kind of even don't want to see not Natalya. I would be more intrigued with. I think Lacey Evans definitely has an athletic upside that is not paid attention to enough. But also Lacey Evans is kind of Lacey Evans, and I don't really like Lacey Evans like that. Right. But I do believe she has an athletic upside that is incredible, and I think she has the physique and she has the skills that will make her eventually a contender in the ring. But what they're doing with her now is interesting. But in terms of Asuka versus Mandy Rose, I'm interested in, this is Mandy Rose's first title opportunity. This is kind of her first, major, not her first major program, but I think this is her first major in-ring program. I'm interested in she'll sort of deliver. I think she's still got a lot of way to go in terms of just improving in the ring and really getting it. But we could see the first steps on it, and we could see if if she's champion worthy after all.
Yeah, I do think it might be Lacey. I just don't see anyone else right now. And if they do, it just makes it too complicated if they move another woman over from another show. I think it'll confuse a lot of people too much. Like, it's like we already have Becky and Charlotte now caring about the Raw Women's title more than they cared about the title that, like, they could literally just go back and challenge for. Yeah. But I mean, Natalya going to SmackDown would be, it'd be cool, I guess, but I don't think it's necessary. Even though I'd like to see it, but Asuka really needs kind of like a big match, and I don't think a multi-man or multi-woman match works for her. I do think it really sucks that it can't be Charlotte this year, but I do think we'll get it because they have been doing the shows on the house shows. And I think that honestly, if Becky wins at WrestleMania, I think Charlotte will go back to SmackDown, and that will be the match for Asuka.
You know what? I would like to say that, but then there's also the shakeup coming up. I could definitely see both Charlotte and Becky moving to
get them away from each other
to the Raw roster. To be honest with you, I mean, I could see them both moving to the Raw roster. I'm just, I'm not even going to lie about it. I could see them both. SmackDown will get who they get. Probably Alexa Bliss again or something. But,
get them away from each other.
Yeah.
Please, God. Speaking of them, the next match, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. If Becky wins, she gets added to the title match at WrestleMania. Here's my thing. Did anyone forget that Becky Lynch won the Royal Rumble?
I did. I 100% did. Because none of this has made sense.
Why is she having this match? I don't know. Why is she having this match? She won the Royal Rumble. Her number one contendership should never go away. Like, when she got reinstated, she should just get it back.
I 100% agree. So
like Ronda on Monday walked into the fucking ring, grabbed the belt back, and she was champion again, just like that. Why can't Becky just be like, I'm not hurt. Clearly, I wasn't hurt. You suspended me the moment I said that I apologized, and this has been booked so haphazardly that it's like. Remember when we were kind of iffy about it at first, and then it kind of came back, and now to me, I lost it again. I lost the plot again. I was you could go ahead.
I think they lost the plot mainly because they're trying to fill time and don't really know what to do. Like they're obviously have to fill 12, 13 weeks between Mania and keep this kind of feud going with these three parties. But they're not sure what to do. They're trying to keep Becky off TV so she doesn't lose too often. And then they're doing this crazy injury angle where she keeps coming back even though she shouldn't be coming back. Like, it's a lot of different...
Well, not only that, she keeps coming back and getting her ass whipped.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's a very interesting sort of scenario that we've got going on. I don't agree with it, but here we are. Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. I guess I got to go Becky. I feel like, it seems to be the only way, even though she did win the Royal Rumble and she should be the number one contender no matter what. But I think that says more about the legitimacy of the Royal Rumble than it does say about Becky Lynch, to be honest with you. I
mean, Seth still gets hit, Seth still gets hit.
But the McMahons didn't just say like, no, you guys aren't going to win. The Vince McMahon just said, I'm assuming now Vince McMahon at any time could say, Seth Rollins, you didn't really earn it. Like he's done this at least twice in the last couple of weeks. Like Vince McMahon has come out very
on his top two matches. He did it. His top two matches. The top two matches on this very pay-per-view. He did it.
This ain't hitting the way I like it. Let's switch things up a bit. Yeah, like one of those type of deals. So I mean, we'll see how it goes. I mean, Charlotte Flair versus Becky Lynch. I don't think the two could. You know what? I don't want to say that. I don't want to say they can't have a bad match because
they can't. But now this match becomes Becky fighting from under, and I think this is going to be the official way that they do this. But it's like Becky fighting from under with her hurt arm and her hurt leg, and essentially it's just going to be pretty much Charlotte on top for most of the match, and I think there's going to be some chicanery around Ronda or something like that. I think Ronda might, Ronda, who is I guess a heel now, and everyone doing that sort of thing. I just think that the storyline it's lost me. It's really lost me at this point. This is another match or another situation where it's like just get to the fucking main event here. I think that they've lost it very very much. in the past month and a half here. And I just think it's just ridiculous. I thought the Mania moment was a fucking spectacular moment, and now to me it doesn't really mean anything.
Right. Yeah.
And, I try and stay very optimistic about a lot of things, and I can't be optimistic about this as a top program. It doesn't work for me right now.
No,
it's not
you're right.
In the same way, and even on the upside, like if people forgot that Seth is going after Brock, like Brock hasn't even shown up for the past 3 weeks, and it's like, this is going to be Seth's first match back in a while on Sunday.
Yeah, when is Brock coming back? Like when are they gonna...
I'm guessing he'll probably be back in the last 4 Raws before Mania, like he usually does.
That's a big investment for WWE, paying this man
exactly
appearance at this point.
It's just very weird. I mean, they should not overcomplicate the finish of this match. Becky, to me, also shouldn't be fucking beating Charlotte again. That's my issue with this fucking thing. It's like, right, Charlotte's lost like 4 times in a row. Like Charlotte doesn't win anything, and I think that it should. But the thing is, if you don't beat Charlotte here, you got to do some bullshit where Ronda comes out and beats up both of them, and they just put her in the match anyway. And it's like, what the fuck was this for?
Yeah.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of this. How can they? I don't know how they can stick the landing here. I mean, they stick the landing to me if they have Becky win Mania. Honestly.
Yeah.
So I agree. There you go. What I presume to be the main event on this show is probably going to be Bryan.
It's probably not. I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think Charlotte and Becky's closing.
We'll see. Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens for the WWE title. I think there's a lot of moving parts here. I do think the New Day will be involved in some way, shape, or form here.
Yes,
in this match, and I also think Sami Zayn will probably be involved. This is just my prediction. Will be involved in some way, shape, or form here as well.
Ooh, interesting.
I do not think Kevin Owens wins this. I think that Bryan does win it. I think that the story is Kofi Kingston going to Mania. Well, here's my thing. I think it's either Kofi Kingston going to Mania or there's going to be a triple threat match with Kofi Kingston, Kevin Owens, and Daniel Bryan. I don't think they kick Owens out of the title picture just yet. If he loses this, that seems to be who they want to be the number one face on the show, with AJ being on kind of like more of a part-time basis here.
Right. I think, you know what? I think it's I don't know. It seems the thing is like Kevin Owens as a face still kind of seems disingenuous.
I think after this episode, I absolutely believe him as a face.
Okay, all right. Well, as long as you believe him as a face, but it's
that opening promo was like, all right, yeah, okay, I see it now. Like it wiped away all the doubts I had that he was gonna low blow Mustafa Ali at the end of the show. Right.
You know what? It's interesting to see how this kind of goes. I do think. I don't know if Sami Zayn returns. It would be great if Sami Zayn. You know, there's so many factors going into this. This Daniel Bryan versus Kevin Owens thing. I do think Kofi Kingston gets involved some way. I think the bad thing would be for him to. I don't want to see this. I think we got a triple threat at Mania already, so I don't see this happening. But I
also wouldn't want Kofi, even though I don't think he's going to win at Mania. I don't want him to, if he does win, like I don't want it to be in a triple threat. You know?
No, I don't want it to be in a triple threat. So I think we're going to get a finish. We're going to get some schmoz finish, and just Kofi Kingston's just going to come out at the end and be like, "Yo, I'm ready to take my." I think he lays out Daniel Bryan or something. Like something along those lines, but
you don't think he interfered? You think he comes up?
No, I don't think it's not a face thing to interfere. I don't even think it's a Kofi thing to like interfere in this match. Like he should, but you know,
yeah. This story has the potential to be overcomplicated as well, and I think they're getting there with this. With like they're now Mustafa Ali's back, and this is another guy. This is what's making me think this is why there's going to be a multi-man match, because these are all men that have pinned Daniel Bryan. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so Kevin Owens has pinned him, Mustafa Ali's pinned him, Kofi's pinned him. Fatal 4-way match. This is what's leading me to believe, like the way they're booking it is that, like making me believe this. I mean, he's handily beat AJ Styles. Randy Orton seems to be going that way. these are all the guys that have pinned him. And I don't think these are just storylines that are being set up for the couple months after Mania. I think these are storylines that will be set up where it's like maybe we get a triple threat between these three guys that determines who faces him or something like that. Maybe on next Tuesday. Like, I don't know, but these are like, from what I'm looking at, it just looks like it's the way they're going to go.
I think we just get cold. I mean, I'm just ready for let's get to Mania.
But you got to wrap up. You got to wrap up those pinfalls he took. You got to wrap those up. And if he wins on some bullshit with Kevin Owens, I don't think they shoot him to the out of the title picture, and I don't think they bring back Sami Zayn as a fucking heel. I
think, you know what? I think
if they did that, that'd be just ridiculous. I'd shoot on that.
I don't know. I can't say I know, because this is kind of just a very like, I don't know if they put this much thought into this program. The WWE Championship has always kind of seemed like a subsidiary program for the last like year, maybe year and change. That I don't know if they're putting this much thought into like, let's make sure that all the things align to make sure everything kind of goes in. I really do think this will be a match with a smosh finish, like some sort of maybe a DQ, maybe something.
That leaves Kevin Owens open for a rematch.
Right. I mean, and I do think he'll get the rematch. Or at least I think it'll end up being like a Kofi versus Kevin Owens type of deal of who gets the rematch.
Ugh. And Mustafa, another guy that I really do believe that it was going to be Mustafa in this Kofi position. I really do. Just the way that they make the guy look.
Right.
It's just insane. Like just the shit that he, even how they had him come back on Tuesday. It was like they gave him the big return at the end of the show. He got the best of Rowan and Daniel Bryan. There's really no other places for Mustafa Ali to go, and they are positioning him as one of the top 3 faces on that show right now.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Listen, I completely agree with you. I do not think it should be a multi-man match, but I also think that it being a multi-man match will make it so that even if Kofi does not win the match, he can win it the next month, and it'll still kind of resonate because he's been fucked over so much.
This is true.
They don't really blow off a lot of things at Mania anymore. That's why I don't think people should think that that's going to happen.
I'm still. Who do you think is going to win?
Daniel Bryan. I think Daniel Bryan's going to win. I think it's going to be a fuck finish. I really don't like the idea of pinning Kevin Owens right now. So I do agree that it should be a DQ finish.
Yeah.
Knowing them, they'll probably pin him. But I really don't like the idea. Now, if Kevin Owens wins, I don't know what to do anymore. I toss my hands up with everything.
Nah, I don't think they're going to let him win. I don't think so.
Listen,
Daniel Bryan is too much of a...
Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened. No one thought he was going to win the Universal title when it happened.
The WWE title?
I mean, Universal. Kevin Owens.
Oh, Kevin Owens. Yeah, but, it was vacated. Like, I think Daniel Bryan could definitely win this match. I don't know if... yes, Kevin Owens... It's tough. It's just tough. It's overcomplicating. I feel like we're overcomplicating this very something that will end up. I feel like we're overcomplicating something, but I feel like when it gets to Sunday, it's going to end up being very, very simple in terms of what happened.
And that's fair. And I think we're overcomplicating it because there are a lot of moving parts.
Yeah, and I think we're having an investment in kind of everybody, and we don't want this to happen because of that, and this guy to lose out on Mania because of this. But I think we'll end up getting. At the end of the day, I definitely think it'll be a Daniel Bryan, Kofi Kingston match. I don't know if it'll be a solo match. I don't know if they'll include Kevin Owens. I don't know if even they'll include Mustafa Ali. But I do know that we'll get Kofi Kingston with Kofi Mania versus Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it for right now. To me, this is a pit stop on the way.
Does the moment matter or the win matter to you more for Kofi?
What do you mean?
Does the moment of him going into WrestleMania to have his first WWE title match, does that moment matter to you than if he wins it or not?
I'd say both matter a lot to me, but I would probably say the moment matters a lot more than the match and more than the win.
I 100% agree with you because
not to say that I don't want him to, I absolutely want him to win.
Oh, me too. But I didn't want him to win at peasy ass Fastlane. That's for damn sure.
This is true.
That's why I think the WWE is smart. They were thinking on the same wavelength as me, and that's why they get paid the big bucks for this. But I think that the moment of him actually going into Mania and having a Mania title match to me opens up more doors than just just him winning it and losing it the next month.
Right.
And him having a slobber knocker of a match would be amazing. I think the moment to me matters just as much as the win does, if not more. And even if he does eventually win it, I really think that like that would be big too. But I just don't think that there are many matchups for him that are to me like they could. I mean, this obviously is WWE. They can make anything work. But I don't know if like I think the thrill for Kofi is the chase, and then the win will happen, and then it'll be like then what. And I think it's the same thing happened with ROH in Homicide. When he finally won the ROH title, it happened. And that moment happened. And then it was like, then what? And he lost the title in like 2 months. And it was just like, back to normal.
Let's not, I don't want to.
I just wanted to ask that question.
I don't want to look too far on this thing.
I just wanted to ask that question. That's all. But yeah, that's Fastlane. Not a hot show to me, but the card is very, very good. I think the matches to me that could possibly steal the show. Obviously, I never bet against Charlotte and Becky ever in my life, but I think the triple threat Raw tag team title match is going to be a banger as well as Andrade Rey Mysterio. I actually catch that on the pre-show. I think that's going to be a good match too.
I think the Shield match. I think Charlotte versus Becky. I think the triple threat tag team match. I mean, really, the undercard will kind of. It has a chance to sort of steal the show on here, but yes, I'm glad it seems a little bit more like SmackDown. It has much more of a presence on the show than Elimination Chamber. I'm looking forward to see it. It's literally the last stop for WrestleMania. After this, we have no more crappy pay-per-views.
Yes. I don't think there's anything from Raw or SmackDown that we missed. I think I mentioned offhand earlier that Joe is the United States champion. I think that was the biggest thing to me, at least.
Shout out to Joe.
That he got his first piece of gold on the main roster. So shout out to him. Like, once these guys like AJ, Joe, I mean, even Gargano, Nakamura, like we never thought we'd see them in these positions, and
right.
They do it. Do you want to speak to the weird Ronda Rousey promo that led to her beating Becky Lynch's ass for 10 minutes before we get out of here, or? Becky got that ass beat. She got that ass tapped.
This is very true. This is so much. I mean, she really got. I mean, she had it coming. She
absolutely did.
She had it coming. So if Becky got some real hits in, which she definitely did, I think it is definitely deserved because she had it coming for the way she was kind of spouting off on Twitter. I think the Twitter thing has gone really like off the rails a little bit.
Yeah, the Twitter shit is. That's another thing with the storyline. It's like the Twitter shit was cool at first. Now it's getting personal, and it's starting to look like some black Twitter shit. And I'm like, I'm good on all that. Like, we don't need all that. Like that's too much. I'm cooling on that. Speaking of shit that is cooling down or cooling off, did you see Naomi get beat in like 11 seconds?
That was sad. You know what? I get it.
You got to make Mandy look strong.
It seemed like they didn't really have time for the match. I mean, they didn't really have time for even anything like last week. You got to make Mandy look strong. I would have loved it was a more competitive match. They don't seem to have the time, or this isn't like a really strong investment on the show. And I will say they had a lot of things going on. I mean, they had the Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan thing literally right before the Charlotte and Becky thing, which I thought the Charlotte and Becky thing would have ended on Raw and they would have had more time for this. But apparently they wanted to add something to SmackDown too because they're both on both shows. So it's kind of like now it's kind of this investment of time. And, I think they got a lot of flack because they didn't have a women's program featured on the show last week. I mean, they had Charlotte last week. They didn't have a match between the women on the show, which is kind of like a must-have now. Yeah. So I think this is kind of what we got here. I would love to see this kind of blown off. You know what? I don't know if they're doing the women's battle royal anymore.
They shouldn't.
The vacant named women's battle royal ever since the people discovered Moolah was a pimp. Remember that?
Yeah, that was big last year. That was a big, like, you cannot name it after her.
Yeah.
I agree. Shit,
I agree. So we got this very weirdly, shaped champion, thing that Naomi won last year and didn't even get anything because she won it. So I'm interested in see kind of what they do with this. I hope they, WrestleMania, everyone's involved. It's in New York. I think they're going to find a way to get everyone involved. We know kind of what the upper card is. I'm kind of now interested in seeing where they're going to go with everyone else. WrestleMania is a big show. They try to fit everybody on it. I hope we do end up seeing these Mandy Roses and Sonya Deville and Naomi on the card. I do hope we see some of the NXT guys. I hope we see, Finn Balor. I hope we see a lot of different people who have worked hard over the last year, have worked hard not to get injured too. Yeah. Get featured on this big card because, it's crazy. Samoa Joe is now United States champion, has not wrestled at WrestleMania. He's been in the company for a number of years now, has not actually stepped foot in the ring at WrestleMania.
Did we get a U.S. title match last year at WrestleMania?
You know what? Yes, we did. We got Rusev versus Jinder versus Bobby Roode versus Randy Orton.
Oh yeah. So he'll be on the card for sure.
He'll be on the card. I'm sure it'll be our Truth program. Mm-hmm. It's some of it, our Truth. No, it'll be maybe Mustafa versus Samoa Joe.
No, it'll be Cena. It should be Cena.
You think it should be Cena versus Joe? Cena, do nothing Cena with the bad haircut, with the Botox?
Never seen it before.
I mean, that's also true. I would like to see Mustafa versus Samoa Joe.
Mustafa. You know what we're missing? And this is literally like the Triple H promo from Raw before we get out of here.
That was good.
People were very upset about that promo.
Why? That was amazing. He probably did it off the top.
It was masturbating himself in the ring. He was shooting. It was very
Richard Flair. I get what they're talking about, but still, it's like, bro. Nah,
Triple H
there's no program.
Triple H put my ass in that seat to watch that.
Yeah,
match.
No. He's 100% right. That promo was incredible.
I think Triple H steps it up another level when it's certain people, and Seth for sure he steps it up another level with Seth. Never thought he had this gear for Batista, but I'm here for this shit. Turn all that shit up.
And Batista's supposed to be on Raw next week, so we will see how that goes. Hollywood Batista, baby.
Turn all that shit up. Turn it up. So that is the A show for the week. Tune into Fastlane on Sunday. I'll be watching. Meelz will be watching. We'll have our thoughts about the show next week, as well as the round 2 results from the March Madness tournament. Thank you guys for, of course, joining in on that and voting. Make sure you show up again next Monday and vote for the second round as well. That is it for us for this week. Check us out at RNC Radio Live. We have so much more content, and basically, you guys need to tell everybody in your family to subscribe to the A Show on Apple Podcasts, and also follow us on SoundCloud as well. Subscribe or square up is the motto. I know I've been kind of lagging on it because of March Madness this week, but subscribe or square up is still the motto. So make sure you do that.
100%.
Meelz, anything else?
Let's see. I think we got a very exciting episode of NXT that you'll tune into, and I think a lot of people should tune into. A lot of good tag team matches. I'm
gonna watch it as soon as we get off this call.
And we got a new Lookout episode this week. Very, very good. We have a new RSPN this week, also very good. We have a new episode of. Are we getting late fees this week?
Late fees. I was going to announce it tomorrow, but late fees. We are under construction this week because we're making room for a return, so to speak. No episode this week, but I can tell you guys that in 2 weeks we'll be reviewing Steven Soderbergh movies with a big return. The Return of the King, so to speak, if you want to keep with movies. So yes.
Listen, I love a good return. And we also have the Perfect Play every Friday. And we got some playlists coming out next week. So just stay tuned. We have a playlist coming out this, Friday. We have the RNC and R&B playlist, respective playlists that will be out. And we have a bunch of other playlists coming out over the next couple of weeks. So make sure you stay tuned. Make sure you stay subscribed or square up, honestly. I think that's really it for the A Show, man.
All right. Until next time, for Meelz, I'm Justin. Peace out.
Happy Rusev Day.